I have three main goals for 2024: writing goals, YouTube goals, and Korean language learning goals. More specifically, I am outlining/drafting 7 books and 3 articles. I also want to reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and 500 followers on Instagram, and have an elementary proficiency in Korean. So in this video, I plan on breaking down the steps that I will be taking in order to accomplish these very ambitious goals in 2024. Since I am a university professor, I find it helpful to divide my year according to the academic calendar. So today's video will be broken down according to the goals that I will accomplish in the spring, the summer, and the fall semesters. So let's start off by discussing the goals that I had set for myself in fall 2023. So I have to admit that these fall 2023 goals were only set for one book project. And as I plan my goals for 2024, all of these tasks will be multiplied by 9 for the 7 books and the 3 articles. So in August, I had set out to find journals for one of the articles that I was drafting. However, since then, I have decided to turn that article into a book chapter of one of the books that I'm currently writing, which is the book about Korean U.S. children's literature. If I do change my mind and turn that article or turn that book chapter back into an article, then I will probably try to publish that article in a journal called the Journal of Korean Studies, which is published by Duke University Press. I have not published in Korean Studies before, and so I feel like publishing in the Journal of Korean Studies will allow me to test to see where my work might fall within Korean Studies. Otherwise, I would try to publish in something like the Children's Literature Association Quarterly, which is published by Johns Hopkins University Press. This is just a more comfortable fit for me in terms of my field because a majority of my work does fall within the field of children's literature. I'm going to check these off since I completed that part of the search. I did finish the chapters that I needed to read in Figuring Korean Futures by Daphne Zohr, so I'm going to check that off as well. I also had the privilege of meeting Dr. Zohr at a children's literature conference this past summer, so it was really great. I felt very inspired and I loved being able to see her work presented live, and she also signed the copy of my book. For August, I did research potential funding sources. I found 2 for this US-Korea project. One is the Asian Cultural Council, and the other one is the Fulbright Hays Study Abroad. I do plan on returning to Korea in the summer of 2024, so I will also need to make sure that I have some grant writing goals for 2024 as a part of this particular project. Regarding my weekly Korean tutoring sessions, it typically ranges between 2 to 4 sessions a month, and that sort of kind of depends on how much time I need in between each lesson to process the material and to complete the homework. So on average, I meet with my tutor about 2 to 3 times a month. I do spend 30 minutes Monday through Friday studying Korean on my own, so even though I'm not always meeting weekly with my tutor, I am studying Korean for about 2.5 hours a week in addition to my weekly sessions with my tutor. I did not purchase new headphones as a treat for myself. Instead, I did buy an air fryer, which should tell you where my heart is. So I'm just going to check that off. For September, I did read Critical Perspectives on Asian American Children's Literature by Manuel and Davis. And for the second article, I read Mixed Race Asian Americans and Contemporary Media and Culture by Josephine Lee. So I am also going to check those off as well. When it comes to these grants, I did research the NEH grant, and I'm most likely going to apply for that grant in the fall. I have a meeting with a senior colleague who received that grant this year, and so I'm hoping to get some insight on her experience and to see if she feels that my grant application would be competitive enough in order to win that grant. In fall 2023, I did apply to 4 other grants. I applied to my college's micro grant, which I received. I applied to my university's research seed grant, which I also received. And then I applied to actually another larger grant in my college, which I also won. And then I applied for a 4th external grant with a library archive in New Orleans, and I won't hear back about that grant until February of 2024. So out of the 4 grants that I applied for in fall of 2023, I received 3. Pat on the back. I should treat myself.
3 words for you. Treat yourself. Treat yourself 2011.
But I blame grad school as a result of delayed gratification. But in 2024, I am going to work on that. In October, November, and December, I did read the Korean translation of Goodnight Moon, as well as Let's Walk Together and The More Colorful the Better. I can read these texts aloud. However, I am better at reading Goodnight Moon than the other 2 texts because I spent a majority of my time learning how to better read Goodnight Moon. So I do want to spend some time in 2024 being able to read some of these other texts. I also want to record myself reading the Korean version of Goodnight Moon just so that I have a record of my growth when it comes to my reading and pronunciation skills in Korean. So look out for that video sometime in the new year. I did not purchase Viki, although I did watch one free show on the platform, but I've been so busy trying to accomplish my 2023 goals that I haven't had much time to binge anything. And again, in 2024, I'm just going to have to think of a better reward system because the delayed gratification just is not helping this cause. Now let's look ahead to 2024, my most ambitious year yet. Let's start off with the drafting/outlining of these 7 books. I want to acknowledge that all of these works are at different stages. So 2024 is going to be more around figuring out what stage of completion I want each project to be at by the end of the year. I will break all of these tasks down separately in my calendar, but for now I'm just going to show you the overview of all of the tasks. So I have listed out all 7 books that I will be working on simultaneously in 2024. 2 of the books are academic books and 4 of the books are works of fiction. For those of you who don't know, along with my PhD, I have an MFA in creative writing. So I feel like I'm at a time in my career where I could spend about a quarter of my time writing creatively. The first academic book is the book that is closest to completion. It is a book based on my dissertation research, which is on Black girlhood in popular media. So on average, I want this book to be about 70,000 words, and I am currently around 18,000. So I am already a fourth of the way towards the completion of that book. By the end of 2024, I should have a revised copy of the book proposal, a revised draft of my preface, a drafted introduction, and a draft of chapter 1. I will also be traveling to New Orleans this summer in order to complete the final research for chapter 1. So by the end of 2024, I should have a large collection of reading and have completed all of the research trips that I need to complete for this particular book project. So my second book, which is a novel centered on Black girlhood, I want that to be approximately 80,000 words. And this second book is the book that is second closest to completion. This book is loosely based on my MFA thesis. I currently have about 13,000 words, so I am already a sixth of the way through to completing this second book project. I want to have a near full draft of the text by the end of the year. So if I write between 5,000 to 6,000 words a month, that will allow me to meet that 80,000 word requirement, which I'm just going to say that I have the faith to do. We're just going to do it. We're going to put the words out there, 5,000 to 6,000 words a month. I can do it and hopefully have a full draft by the end of the year. The second academic book is at the intersection of Korean and US children's literature and the industry, looking at the kind of heightened cross-cultural import-export that is occurring with the Hallyu Wave here in the US, as well as looking at the move and migration of Americans to South Korea. But I'm looking specifically at how those moves are impacting the children's literature industry. I completed my first research trip to South Korea this past summer in summer 2023. And so now I am in the midst of kind of like developing my research questions. So I want to spend 2024 solidifying my research questions, as well as outlining a book proposal, as well as applying for grants in hopes of being able to return to Korea in the summer of 2025. The article that I was telling you about earlier will hopefully be the first book chapter of this particular book, and I would like to draft an outline of that first chapter by the end of the year as well. Okay, we are at book number 4. Book number 4 is a novel very, very, very loosely based on my personal experiences of traveling throughout South Korea this summer. I had visited between 10 and 11 cities during the 6 weeks that I was there. And so this novel is just kind of me processing those experiences and being able to fictionalize them for my future readers. I want this novel to be around 70,000 words. I've actually already written 11,000 words towards this novel, which was not something I had been expecting, but it has just kind of been overflowing in me. I have about 60,000 more to go. So just like with the previous novel, if I write between 5,000 to 6,000 words a month, then I will also have a full draft or full near draft of this novel by the end of the year. And then with even more ambition, I have actually started writing a young adult trilogy that is very, very loosely based on my research when it comes to the US/South Korean intersection in children's literature, or I guess perhaps I should say the gap within the industry. I want each book of the trilogy to be about 70,000 words, and I am currently working on the first book of the trilogy. I want to have the first book completed by the end of 2024, so that way I can spend 2025 working on the narratives of books 2 and books 3. By the end of 2024, I want to also have outlines of books 2 and books 3. If I manage to write about 5,000 words on average a month towards book 1, then I should also have a completed or near completed draft of the novel by the end of the year. Whew. Books down, articles to go. Here is the plan for the 3 articles that I plan on drafting in 2024. The first article is about Amandla Stenberg and how she has defined girlhood for an entire generation, or at least that's what I am arguing in that article. This article should be a maximum of 5,000, maybe 5,500 words. So I will actually spend the first 6 months collecting all of the data from the movies that I will be watching that she has starred in. And then since I will be traveling during the summer, I don't plan on doing any writing for this article. But once the fall comes, then I want to have at least a 2,000 word outline for this particular article by the end of the year. The second article that I would like to work on in 2024 is an article about The Hate U Give, I Rise, Ghost Boys, Piecing Me Together, and A Good Kind of Trouble. I'm arguing around how there's a kind of new form of protest literature occurring in middle grade and YA. I have already read 4 of these 5 texts, so I will spend the first half of the year reviewing these texts, reading the texts that I have yet to read, which is A Good Kind of Trouble, which I'm really looking forward to reading. So hopefully by the summer, I will then have 2,500 words written. I've actually already started this article just because I am in the midst of kind of just processing my framework. I already have 1,000 words written, so I only need to then write 1,500 in the first 6 months of the year. And then I'll take a break because I'm doing some summer research travel, and then we'll return to it at the end of the year in hopes of having a near completed draft. So for this last article where I am exploring biracial Asian American girlhood, I need to spend the first half writing towards a conference paper. I was accepted into the 2024 Asian American Association conference. So once I get feedback from that conference, then I will be able to use that feedback to then produce the full-length article. And then hopefully I will have a full draft of that article by the end of the year. This is a lot. Next are my social media goals. I have two main platforms that I want to see growth on. I want to see growth here on YouTube, and I want to see growth on my Instagram. By the end of the year, I would like to have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and 500 followers on Instagram. I currently have 86 subscribers on YouTube, so if you are not currently subscribed and you're watching this video, feel free to go ahead and click the subscribe button now. And I have 188 followers on Instagram, so if you're not following me on Instagram, head on over there and click that follow button. Since I am shooting for the stars in 2024, I'm just going to assume that miracles can happen, and who knows, I could hit these numbers. I'm just planning for the best, and we'll just take it from there. I have also created this chart for the first half of the year because I want to reassess at the beginning of the summer whether these goals are actually attainable, especially since I only really post on YouTube about twice a month, and recognizing that in order to grow on YouTube, I need to post more often. But again, miracles happen. Miracles happen every day. And the same is true for Instagram. I post to Instagram maybe once or twice a week, and now I am going to be upping it to 4 times a week, but hopefully having developed a more consistent way of posting to Instagram will then allow me to up my game in 2025. So by the end of May, I should have posted 10 videos and 80 posts on Instagram, whether those are stories, reels, or carousels. We are now at the final goal for 2024, and that is developing an elementary proficiency in Korean. I want to be able to have a basic conversation with either Jimin or JK or Suga or Namjoon or Tae or Jin. Is that too much to ask? I should say that my listening and reading comprehension skills are much stronger than my speaking skills, so I do want to focus more on my speaking skills in hopes of bringing it up to my other 2 levels of understanding. So throughout the first half of 2024, I will continue to meet with my tutor at least a minimum of 2 times per month, a maximum of 4 if I feel like I am not getting towards my goals, and then I can kind of up the amount of times I am seeing her, and then I will reassess at the beginning of break. I will also continue spending 2.5 hours doing my active self-study in Korean. I do watch a lot of K-dramas and also consume K-pop. I consider that more passive learning than active learning, so those hours are not embedded within my 2.5 hours per week. My 2.5 hours per week will be my active learning, and then all of those other hours that are just kind of passive, I won't count. Like how I did in the fall, I want to spend each month focusing on reading 1 children's picture book in Korean, 1 for my research, and also just again to get better at my reading skills. So by the end of May, I have that I will have spent a minimum of 10 hours with my tutor, a minimum of 50 hours doing self-study, and then we'll have read or have reread a handful of picture books, totaling about 60 plus hours of active study over the next 6 months. That basically means that's how much studying I've already done in the fall of 2023. We are almost there. I now want to show you what all of this and all of these tasks will look like in my weekly calendar. So Monday through Friday, I will spend 90 minutes each day working towards the novels. Fridays will be more specifically geared towards my academic writing days, where I will spend 2 hours working towards academic book number 1, 1 hour working towards academic book number 2, and then 30 minutes each on the various subsequent articles. And note that some of these kind of time preferences will change depending on if I have other writing tasks, such as writing a grant and or writing for conferences. I also want to spend Monday through Friday reading for an hour. I will spend 30 minutes reading towards a novel and then 30 minutes reading towards any kind of academic article or book. For YouTube, I want to spend between 15 and 30 minutes per day scripting my videos, and then between 30 and 60 minutes per day editing. Editing videos does take me some time, so I want to make sure that I always have time built into my schedule to spend on editing. I'm also going to be spending some of that time thinking about the post and writing and scripting for the various things that I will be creating for Instagram. And then Saturdays are my filming days, where I am planning on batching between 2 and 3 videos. So that way I am recording just about every other week or every couple of weeks, and then can use the days or the Saturdays when I'm not recording to be scripting if I haven't been able to finish all of the scripting during the week. So if I'm able to maintain this schedule, that means I will be working on YouTube between 4 to 12 hours a week. That is like a quarter-time job. YouTube is a quarter-time job. Now that I've put this all in a video, looking at it, I must admit that this is totaling around 30 hours of work every week. So I am going to need to be super diligent and disciplined around making sure that I have everything in my calendar. I'm going to have to figure out streamlining teaching and grading and prepping and all of the service work that comes as a part of being a professor. I am also going to need to streamline my social life as well as the other personal goals that I have, such as resting and working out. But I have faith that I can do it. I will be tracking my progress over the next few months, so look out for my summer update video to let you know all the very ambitious things I have accomplished in the first half of 2024. Feel free to share your goals with me down in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.